Hey everyone, it's Leanie. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thanksgiving. Today we have another video coming to us from The Painful Explainer, and this is the worst Thanksgiving deaths ever. I'm not sure if I should go watch this right before I'm gonna go eat a bunch of food, but we're gonna watch it anyways. Make sure to go show them some love and let's get right into it.
The accidental salmonellosis death.
Salmonellosis. Wait.
The Martinez
Accidental salmonellosis. Goodness. You guys know I cannot talk. I've never heard of that.
In their Las Vegas home for what should have been a joyful Thanksgiving celebration.
Salmonellosis.
Maria Martinez, 42, had spent the morning preparing a traditional feast for 7 family members. The table was set with turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and all the customary sides.
Yummy.
No one suspected that deadly bacteria were multiplying in their food. Maria prepared the turkey the way she always did. But 2 critical mistakes occurred during preparation. The bird had been thawed at room temperature for nearly 24 hours, and the stuffing, made with raw eggs, had been prepared the night before and left inside the turkey overnight. The turkey was large, nearly 25 pounds, and despite appearing fully cooked when served, the center of the bird and stuffing hadn't reached the temperature needed to kill bacteria.
Oh no,
the
this is gross.
Heartily, commenting on how delicious everything tasted.
No.
Within 12 hours, the first symptoms appeared. Maria's husband, Carlos, 45, developed severe stomach cramps and diarrhea. By the following morning, 5 other family members were experiencing similar symptoms. Most concerning was...
This is why I don't do the cooking, because that's probably what would happen to me, but I think I know better. I would check it with a thermometer, and I would not allow my family to eat raw food. But yeah, I don't cook. I don't cook. I clean, but I don't cook.
Maria's mother, Elena Vasquez, 78, who became rapidly dehydrated.
Oh no,
the family initially dismissed their illness as a simple case of food poisoning that would pass. They treated themselves with over-the-counter medications and tried to stay hydrated with sports drinks. Elena's condition deteriorated most quickly. Her son-in-law found her unconscious in the bathroom 2 days after the meal. Her body severely dehydrated from persistent vomiting and diarrhea. Paramedics rushed Elena to Desert Springs Hospital. Her blood pressure was dangerously low, and her body temperature had risen to 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Doctors diagnosed severe sepsis, a life-threatening condition caused by the body's extreme response to infection. The bacteria had entered her bloodstream, triggering a cascade of organ failures. Despite aggressive treatment with antibiotics and intravenous fluids, Elena's condition worsened. Her kidneys shut down, followed by respiratory distress. 72 hours after the Thanksgiving meal, Elena Vasquez was pronounced dead. The cause...
Imagine you cook your family Thanksgiving dinner and one of your family members dies because of your cooking. Oh my God, I couldn't live.
Salmonella
I couldn't
infection
get past that.
By severe dehydration, septic
I don't think I would ever cook a meal again.
Failure. Laboratory analysis of leftover food confirmed high concentrations of salmonella bacteria in
salmonella I've heard of.
The CDC
Salmonellosis I have not.
Materials warning about the dangers of improper food handling during holiday meals.
Oh my God.
Thanksgiving weekend plane crash. On
Thanksgiving
November 24th,
weekend
2011, 39-year-old pilot Sean Perry prepared for a short flight from Falcon Field in Mesa, Arizona. The Thanksgiving holiday weekend had just begun, and Perry had planned a special trip for his 3 young children. Morgan, 9, Logan, 8, and Luke, 6, were excited to be flying with their father to his parents' home in Safford for Thanksgiving dinner. Perry was joined by Russell Hardy, 31, a mechanic and close friend, and Joseph Hardwick, 22, another pilot who was coming along for the journey. The 6 boarded a twin-engine Rockwell Aero Commander 690, a turboprop aircraft that Perry had piloted many times before. The plane took off at 6:31 p.m. Just 15 minutes after takeoff. As the aircraft approached the Superstition Mountains east of Phoenix, go there. Something went terribly wrong.
What the heck?
The plane was flying at approximately 4,500 feet.
Too low?
The treacherous mountains rose to over 5,000 feet in some areas.
Oh my goodness.
Flight data later showed no deviation in course or altitude as the aircraft approached the terrain.
They just
at 6:46 p.m., the Rockwell slammed directly into the western face of the mountain known as Flatiron. The impact was catastrophic and immediate. Witnesses reported seeing a fireball erupt on the mountainside, illuminating the rugged landscape for miles around. The explosion echoed through the valleys below.
Were they not
Perry,
paying attention at all?
When she received the devastating news, she had been preparing Thanksgiving decorations for the children's return the next day.
No.
First responders reached the crash site shortly after, but the scene confirmed their worst fears. The aircraft had disintegrated on the impact, scattering wreckage across nearly half a mile of steep, rocky terrain. The bodies of all 6 occupants were recovered over the next 2 days. The temperature drop at night and the difficult terrain complicated recovery efforts. Autopsies later confirmed that death would have been instantaneous for all aboard when the plane struck the mountain at approximately 200 miles per hour. The National Transportation Safety Board investigation revealed that the pilot had been flying under visual flight rules rather than instrument flight rules. In the darkness, Perry likely never saw the mountain looming in front of him until it was too late. Fatal hunting accident in Pennsylvania.
So sad.
On November 27th, 2021, the woods of Jackson
this is
Township,
relatively
Pennsylvania,
recent.
were filled with hunters. It was the Saturday after Thanksgiving, coinciding with the first day of deer hunting season, a tradition deeply embedded in the state's culture. For many families, the opening day was as much a part of Thanksgiving weekend as the turkey dinner itself. William Tripp, 71, was an experienced hunter who had been stalking game in these forests for over 5 decades.
5 decades.
That morning, he set out before dawn, dressed in the bright orange vest and hat required by state law. He carried a Remington 3806 that he had owned for 20 years. The weather was clear but cold, with temperatures hovering around 30 degrees. Tripp was hunting with several family members, including his grandson's friend, Jared Miller. The group had separated to cover more ground, maintaining radio contact as they moved through the dense woodland. Around 10:45 a.m., Miller spotted movement approximately 100 yards away through a thick stand of trees. Believing he had sighted a deer, Miller raised his rifle and peered through the scope. The forest was dappled with light and shadow, creating a confusing visual environment.
What? Okay. I already know where this is going. Why would you shoot if you are not 100% certain that it is a deer?
What Miller thought was the brown flank of a deer was actually Tripp's jacket, partially visible between the trees. Without waiting to confirm his target, Miller squeezed the trigger. The high-velocity bullet struck Tripp directly in the head. The impact was catastrophic, causing immediate and fatal trauma to his brainstem. Other hunters in the area heard the shot, followed by silence. No radio call came from Tripp. After several minutes without response, his son began searching for him. When they found Tripp's body, it was already too late. He had died instantly from a single gunshot wound. Blood stained the fallen leaves around him, steaming slightly in the cold morning air. Despite having followed proper protocol,
did you hear that visual? Steaming slightly in the cold air.
High visibility
the blood on the leaves was steaming.
For Miller to
it was
see
still hot.
Scope. First responders arrived within 30 minutes, but could only confirm what the family
already
knew.
Gone.
William Tripp was pronounced dead at the scene. An autopsy later confirmed that the bullet had severed his brainstem, causing immediate cessation of all bodily functions. There would have been no pain, no awareness of what had happened. The Pennsylvania Game Commission classified the incident as an accidental shooting. Miller, devastated by what he had done, required psychological counseling.
Yeah, I would need some therapy for a long time.
On November 26, 2009, 17 members of the Seton and Merhige families gathered for Thanksgiving dinner in Jupiter, Florida. The elegant home in a quiet neighborhood was filled with conversation and laughter as relatives caught up over traditional holiday fare. No one noticed anything unusual about 35-year-old Paul Merhige's behavior as he sat quietly at the dinner table. Merhige had driven 90 miles from his Miami home to join the celebration. He had a history of mental illness, but family members later said there were no warning signs that day. He participated in the meal, even saying grace before dinner. For 3 hours after the meal concluded, the evening continued normally, with family members relaxing in different rooms of the house. At approximately 10 p.m., Merhige calmly retrieved a handgun. He re-entered the house and methodically began shooting his relatives. His first victims were his twin sisters, 33-year-old Carla Merhige and pregnant Lisa Knight. Both women died instantly from gunshot wounds to the head. He then turned the on his 76-year-old aunt, Raymond Joseph, killing her where she sat in the living room. As family members screamed and fled, Merhige moved through the house with chilling determination. Michaela Sitton was in her bedroom, having just been tucked in by her father. Merhige entered the child's room and shot her multiple times as she lay in bed. When police later questioned him about killing the little girl, he showed no remorse, stating, "I didn't want her to grow up with this." During the rampage, Merhige also shot his brother-in-law Patrick Knight and his uncle Muriel Sitton, though both survived their injuries. As family members huddled with the wounded and called 911, Merhige fled the scene. Before leaving, witnesses heard him say, "I've been waiting 20 years to do this." Merhige evaded capture for over a month before being arrested at a motel in the Florida Keys. During his trial, psychiatric evaluations revealed he had meticulously planned the He was sentenced to 7 consecutive life terms in prison. Colt's neck quadrupled.
That was insane.
On November 20th, 2018,
your own family
just days
members?
before Thanksgiving, emergency responders rushed to a mansion fire in the affluent community of
Mansion
Colts Neck, New
fire.
Jersey. The 5,700 square foot home belonged to Keith Canero, a 50-year-old tech CEO, his wife Jennifer, and their 2 young children. As firefighters battled the blaze, they made a horrific discovery on the front lawn. Keith's body, shot multiple times, including once in the head. Inside the burning house, the scene was even more disturbing. Jennifer Canero, 45, had been stabbed.
Someone committed some murders and went back and caught the house on fire, or set the house on fire to cover it up.
11-year-old Jesse and 8-year-old Sophia were found severely burned. The medical examiner later determined they had been stabbed to death before the fire was set. The family's dog had also been killed. Just hours earlier that morning,
you couldn't even just leave the dog.
To another fire 12 miles away in Ocean Township. That home belonged to Paul Canero, Keith's 51-year-old brother and business partner. Initially, Paul was seen as another victim, his house supposedly targeted by the same unknown assailant. He stood with his wife and daughters watching their home burn, appearing distraught. The truth was far more sinister. Investigators soon discovered Paul had murdered his brother's entire family, then set their mansion ablaze to destroy evidence.
It was the brother?
Morning, Paul had driven to his brother's home, shot Keith multiple times on the lawn, then entered the house.
What?
He methodically killed Jennifer with a knife and gun, then moved to the children's rooms. After ensuring all four family members were dead, he set fires in multiple locations throughout the home. Paul then returned to his own house in Ocean Township, used gasoline to start a fire on his property, and created an alibi by discovering the flames and evacuating his own family. The carefully orchestrated plan was meant to make it appear that both families were targeted by an outside threat. The motive was financial. The brothers co-owned 2 businesses, and Keith had recently discovered that Paul was stealing money from their ventures. Keith had told associates he was considering cutting business ties with his brother. Court records revealed Paul had embezzled nearly $75,000.
Oh my gosh, he's just a horrible person all around.
Arson, theft, and weapons offenses. Coconut Grove Fire. On November 28, 1942, the United States was deep in the struggles of World War II.
1942. Okay, this is a long time ago.
Hundreds gathered at the popular Coconut Grove nightclub to celebrate the Thanksgiving weekend. The club was packed beyond its 460-person capacity, with an estimated 1,000 patrons filling its dining rooms,
I don't like feeling like I'm in a place
At
that's too crowded.
PM,
my mind instantly goes to dark places. I don't like it.
Downstairs.
Like, I'd rather not be here.
To replace a light bulb, accidentally igniting the flammable decorations. Within seconds, the flame climbed up the palm tree and spread across the ceiling's cloth decorations. Witnesses later reported that the fire moved faster than a person could run.
Of course.
The blaze raced through the building with terrifying speed.
Packed.
Toxic smoke filled the rooms before many patrons even realized what was happening. The club's main exit, a revolving door, quickly became jammed with bodies
it's a revolving door.
Guests rushed toward it. Other exits were locked or blocked to prevent patrons from leaving without paying their bills.
Oh my God.
Inside, the scene turned chaotic. The lights failed, plunging the club into darkness except for the advancing wall of flames. People trampled each other in blind panic. Those who couldn't reach exits were overcome by carbon monoxide and cyanide gas released from burning decorations. Firefighters arrived within minutes but found victims already beyond saving. Many were found still seated at their tables, killed so quickly by the toxic smoke that they never stood up. Others were stacked several bodies deep at blocked exits, crushed or suffocated while trying to escape. The heat was so intense that gold rings melted on victims' fingers. Survivors described hearing screams abruptly stopping as smoke filled each room. Those who escaped the fire often died later in hospitals from severe burns and damaged lungs. When the final count was made, 492 people had perished, making it the deadliest nightclub fire in American history. Football game room collapsed.
492.
On November 29th, 1900, the annual big game between rivals Cal and Stanford drew thousands of spectators to San Francisco. The highly anticipated Thanksgiving weekend match was a major social event.
125 years ago.
For those unable to secure admission, creative alternatives emerged. At the Pacific Glassworks factory near the field, the flat roof offered a perfect vantage point to watch the game for free. By early afternoon, over 100 spectators had gathered atop the building. Many were young men and boys who had climbed the fire escapes and ladders to avoid paying the entrance fee. Below them, inside the factory, workers tended to glass-making furnaces that reached temperatures of 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Just before 2:30 p.m., as the crowd on the roof grew increasingly dense, witnesses heard a sudden cracking sound. The decades-old wooden roof, never designed to hold such weight, began to splinter. Spectators at the edges tried to scramble away, but there was nowhere to run. Within seconds, the entire center section gave way. 23 people plunged 45 feet through the collapsing structure. Some fell directly into the massive glass furnaces below. The molten glass instantly engulfed those who landed in it, causing immediate and catastrophic burns. Others struck metal equipment or concrete floors, suffering devastating traumatic injuries. The factory workers below had no warning. One moment they were working their shifts. The next, bodies were raining down among them. The screams lasted only moments. Those who fell into the furnaces died almost instantly. their bodies consumed by temperatures hot enough to melt bone. First responders arrived to find a scene of chaos. The factory floor was littered with bodies. Some victims were unrecognizable, their features obliterated by the fall or the extreme heat. Identification of the dead proved nearly impossible in some cases.
Yeah,
of
how
the 23
do you
who fell,
even
none
identify them?
survived. 16 died immediately at the scene, while the remaining 7 expired within hours at nearby hospitals.
Wow, no one survived. If you want
to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now.
Okay, well, the worst Thanksgiving deaths ever. Oh my gosh. I'm glad not too many of them were food related because I'm about to go and eat a bunch of food, but make sure to go show the Painful Explainer some love. And if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one.